get a check of your weather here at CBS News Baltimore. 95 degrees this day, and we've got to watch for storms, which we'll be talking about in a second. Storms will end primarily, I think, area-wide for the most part during the overnight. 73 is a low. Then we get a break in our temperatures. Let me show you how much of a break we're going to get. Forecast high temperatures around the Beltway this day. Conversationally, let's say about 90 to 92 degrees. But I do want you to note the heat index is going to be closer to 100 degrees. But look what happens tomorrow. Let's go down to Anne Arundel County. We're talking about the low 80s. Let's go jumping up to Harford County. We're talking about the upper 70s to, on some car thermometers, the low 80s. The heat index forecast starts to bottom out, and we just get your standard old basic. It's August, and it's going to feel warm. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has us in a marginal risk of severe weather. When I was doing the noon news on the air, it was only the northern tier of counties that were in a marginal risk for severe weather. That has now migrated south, and I can see that continuing to move in a southerly direction as frontal boundary starts approaching the area that will eventually punch through the region, and that's going to break the back of this heat. But right now, you got to start thinking to yourself, though nothing is showing on the SATRAD, storms will begin to fire up by the middle of the afternoon. And the timing of the real intense, potentially intense weather is a little bit later on, let's say after dinner and through the bedtime hours into the early overnight. Now let's talk about Debbie. There you can see her absolutely soaking. The low country of South Carolina, absolutely soaking. And I want you to watch what Debbie's going to do. Debbie, before I hit the button, let me tell you, Debbie's going to get out to sea, gain some strength, gain some moisture, swing back inland, and then head right toward your corner. Look at this. Look what happens Friday and Saturday, potentially right over Baltimore, right over the Chesapeake Bay. The intense side of any of those lows is always going to be off to the northeast, east, and southeast. It doesn't bode well for the mid-Atlantic, to be quite honest about it. And even though we're saying, you know what, let me just do something real quick. Let me go back. Here's Debbie. Let's go ahead and go back to that computer modeling again. I want you to note that even though Debbie is going to slide on this model basically right over Baltimore, and you think, okay, well, the heavy impact, the heavy side of the storm is going to be to the south. Not really. It's going to throw water up the entire Chesapeake Bay, and the rain north of that low is going to be substantial enough that we could say area-wide, we've got alert days scheduled for darn good reason. Heavy windswept rain, we'll get to that in a second. 95 today, an alert day for possible storms and that heat. Then 83 and 80 degrees, chance of storms, the backwash of the front sliding across the area earlier than later tomorrow. Chance of showers, that'll be because Debbie's starting to move our way. Then we really have to pay big attention to Friday and to Saturday. 78 and 79 degrees both those days. We finally calm our weather down in a perfect world to 84 degrees Sunday, 86 degrees on Monday. Thanks so much for stopping by. CBS News, Baltimore.